Hey everybody, Stephen here. It's been 1 year that I've been running a Portland Brewery. Seems kind of crazy. As some of you know, August 9, 2023 was my first day back at Culmination. An article came in the Oregonian, I think August 3rd, saying Culmination was struggling and about to go out of business. Ended up meeting with the board, and they asked Culmination Board of Directors, and they asked me to come back and take over the brewery and run it, and do everything I could to try and save it. And so that was August 9, 2023. So August 9, 2024 makes it 1 year. And I'll tell you, it's been a crazy journey. This video is more about my personal reflections, how that journey has impacted me personally. I did make a video for Culmination Brewing and post that to the Culmination YouTube channel, Culmination Facebook page, Culmination Instagram account, covering that journey as it relates to Culmination, the past year for Culmination. But like I said, this is more my personal journey. People all the time ask that, well, how's the brewery going? The ones that know. And by the way, I said come back to the brewery. Some of you may or may not know. Back in December 2014, I was the third person to join the Culmination team. There was Tomas in April, and then there was me. Came on board, and I did my part for the first 2 years the brewery was open. I did my small part to help branding, marketing, social media. I even bartended, did my part to help launch this brewery, put my heart and soul into it. And so last August 2023, when they asked me to come back and run it, man, my heart was here, and like I did not want to see. I'm a big fan of craft breweries, a big fan of Portland craft breweries, and I didn't want to see another one go out. And I thought, well, I'll give it a shot. Back to what people ask me, how's it going? I always tell them, well, we're not dead yet. And they kind of smile, they know what to say. And I say that because, you never know. I'm doing everything I can. My staff, my crew, we're doing everything we can to keep the brewery going, but you just don't know. Just 2 days ago, a brewery went out of business here in Portland. And it seems to happen, sadly, on a regular basis. It's just a tough time for craft beer right now. So I tell people, it's not dead yet. One person said, well, that kind of sounds like a Monty Python movie. I said, well, sometimes it feels like a Monty Python movie. A lot of crazy things happen. And if I look month after month after month, every month it seems like the progress and the improvement is very slow, just grows at a glacier pace. Things get better. But over the past year, Culmination has made a lot of progress that I'm really proud of. So as far as my personal reflections running this brewery, I have 8 different things to share with you. The first one that I've become painfully aware of is a year ago saying, yeah, if I'll come back and do my part to try and save a struggling Portland brewery. That was an act of lunacy. It was a crazy thing to do. I had no idea how hard it would be, how difficult. I think I was just kind of out of my mind. The second thing is that I have learned so incredibly much. I knew business, I knew branding, I knew marketing, I knew storytelling, but I knew some about craft beer. But I tell you, I have learned so much about the business of craft beer. I just tell you the things, and then making beer. It's amazing all the things you need to buy and all the things you need to do. I feel like every week I learn something new. So that was the second thing, is I've learned a tremendous amount. The third thing is, even though I had a lot I needed to learn, the path that I had in my life up to last August, that path very much prepared me to run a brewery. My 10 years my 10 years in the nonprofit world, my 10 years in the banking world, the time that I've spent prior to running the brewery with my company Sparked a Bonfire, helping people grow their brands and grow their businesses. My time with my company Go Live the Life You Imagine, working with people, helping them with life change and pursuing the dreams that smolder in their heart, battle for the dreams that they want to see come true. All the financial struggles I had back in the day that launched me back in the summer of 2011 to change my life completely. My work becoming an author and becoming a content creator. All of those things prepared me. And I tell you that because often when the universe opens up a door for you for a new endeavor, or you're finally going to do something you've long wanted to do, it's easy to underestimate how much the path you've already walked on has prepared you. And looking back, all the things I did professionally and some of the things in my personal life definitely prepared me for this journey I've been on the past year. The fourth thing I want to share with you is that this has been one of the hardest things I've ever done professionally. Finishing my second book, January of 2015, for whatever reason, getting my second book done, that last 25% rent, that was incredibly difficult. And this past year, I've had so many obstacles and challenges. It's been rough. It has been very tough. Just thinking about surviving last winter, payroll was running about $26,000 going into the fall, and and lots of things going in the wrong direction financially. And I realized I got to cut payroll. So I ended up having to lay everybody off, which was incredibly painful. It was hard for me to do. I didn't want to do it, but I didn't have a choice. I didn't have money to pay them. And I cut the brewery back to having just 2 people on payroll, just 2 brewers. Went from quite a number of people on payroll down to just 2 brewers. And over the winter, there was 3 of us running this brewery, me and my 2 incredible brewers, Daniel and Andy. And that was rough and hard. And then, for those of you that run a brewery in a tap room, there's one thing to run a brewery. It's quite another to also run a tap room. And if you have a tap room, you need a bartender. So over the winter, Daniel and Andy, they bartended on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Not that they wanted to, but they did what they had to do to help keep the brewery going. April Slider, bless her heart, she's a shareholder, part of the Culmination family, and she donated her time to pour beer on Wednesday nights. And then I poured beer Fridays, noon to 9, Saturdays, noon to 9, and Sundays, noon to 8. Bartended here 3 days a week. Those are 3 very long shifts for me. I'll tell you, Monday mornings, particularly the first month or so, every Monday morning, the first month so that bartending, I was like hunched over. I could hardly walk. I was in pain. I was exhausted. Just getting through last winter was very tough, but we survived. We made it through. That being said, the 5th thing I want to share with you is that this has been an incredibly fulfilling year for me. It's been fulfilling personally. It's been fulfilling professionally. There are so many Culmination fans that come and say, thank you for saving the brewery and thank you for your efforts, or over the winter offered me encouragement. The Culmination regulars, man, what a joy and a blessing they were to me. Always encouraging, grateful for what we're doing. And then our staff, as spring came, we started able to add staff back and being able to have the staff that I have now. I love the people that I have on staff, and they're phenomenal. And just grateful to have them. So yeah, it was a tough year, but it's also been incredibly fulfilling. The 6th thing I want to share with you is it's been very interesting to me, very intriguing that people have a hard time getting their minds around the fact that, no, I'm actually running the brewery. And I'll meet people, they'll ask me what I do, and I say, I'm running the brewery, and they'll have a question about something, and then all of a sudden they end up going to someone else that's part of the business, or someone that used to be part of the business, and that person will say, oh, you got to talk to Stephen. Then they come back to me again and say, oh, you really are running the brewery. I say, yeah, I really am. And I have friends that seem to have a hard time to get them, oh, you're really doing that. Yes, I'm really doing that. It's just a fascinating thing. And then I get those people that say, oh, I thought you were just the bartender. I said, well, I do bartend a lot, at least over the winter I did. I was doing 3 days a week, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, as I mentioned. I said, I do bartend, but I do a lot of other things. And I mentioned that because some of those people, my friends, they just couldn't see me as someone that made no sense, and they couldn't see me as someone that could run a brewery, much less help save a struggling brewery. And if you're trying to build an endeavor, you have family and friends in your life that don't have the gift of vision. With the gift of vision, you can see something not only as it is, or a person not only as they are, but as they could be. And I know that when I set out in the summer of 2011, I'm going to become a writer and an author and a speaker and self-employed. I had family and friends. They could not see me as an author. They didn't see me as I was. They saw me as I used to be, and they're like, there's no way you could be an author. And the same way with this. I have people like, they just have a hard time getting around. I'm running a brewery. But if you are doing something, make sure that you tell people who will cheer you on. And remember, not everybody has the gift of vision, and they won't be able to see you becoming who you want to become. And don't let their lack of vision keep you from the dream that you want to battle for. The 7th thing I want to mention is it's been incredibly humbling personally. Running this brewery has brought me in touch with a lot of certain areas of my brokenness, things that I needed to address and tend to, areas where I needed to grow. You can go through a long journey in your life where there's certain things you never need to tackle, and this has brought me into direct contact with areas like, wow, I really have to tackle that. Paradigms that I had, limiting beliefs that just weren't helpful. I call them defective stories, not detective stories, but defective stories. When I work with people doing my life story alchemy work, helping them change their lives and help toward the life their heart longs for, I help them discover and overcome their defective stories. And I tell you, this journey this past year has helped me discover and begin the journey of overcoming a lot of my own defective stories. And I've grown a lot. I've grown a lot in my lifetime, and I've grown a tremendous amount over this past year. And the 8th thing I'll share with you that was just shocking to me is it takes so much money to run a brewery and to make beer. Of course, you got rent, you got to buy grain, you got to buy hops. That may make sense to you, but you got to buy CO2. I didn't know you need to buy lots and lots of CO2 to run a brewery, to make beer. You got to buy chemicals. There's just so many things you have to spend money on. And when I got here to Culmination, when I got here, they were going out of business. They told everybody, it's over, we're going out of business. And I came in and said, let's try and save it. And there was just a huge pile of bills. And I do everything I can to pay those bills and manage the money and do right by the people. There's one bill in particular, I don't have the money yet to pay it. And some of the people that are part of that bill, they are grumpy, they are not happy, they want that money. And one person said, well, I don't think it's fair, the brewery's open and that bill's not being paid. But I'm just not there yet. I hope to be able to do that, but I can't. Here's one story. I've tried to be very careful with the money. When I got here, there was no merch, and having merch actually helps a brewery. But I want to be responsible. I'm not sure I'm ready to buy merch. So a couple months ago, I finally spent $300 and bought stickers. Got a bunch of stickers, and people love having stickers, but people want T-shirts. And having T-shirts would actually be, I think, pretty good for the brand. But I don't know, spending that much money on a T-shirt. And long story short, someone said, hey, figure out how much it would cost for T-shirts. And so I figured it out and got sent to a good local person here in Portland to help me with T-shirts. And okay, if we get 20 of these and 20 of these and 20 of these, here's the total. And but I never spent the money yet. I had yet to spend that money because there's always a bill to pay. I need more hops. I got to cover rent. I got to cover payroll. And spending $900, that $900 I just wasn't ready to do it yet. But Monday, that person asked, how much was it? Figure it out. They showed up and said, I got a gift for you with strings on it. And they pulled out 9 $100 bills, a stack of $100 bills, and they said, hey, I'll give you this money, but only if you use it to buy those T-shirts. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. Someone says, why'd you buy T-shirts and not pay this bill? Because someone gave me the money for these T-shirts. So Monday, I got to order T-shirts for the first time in over a year. We're going to have Culmination T-shirts, which I'm so excited about. I got to tell you, my employees are even more excited about. That's just an example of, not only do you have the stress of no money, but the stress of having to pay all those bills. And like I said, it is shocking how much money it takes to make beer and to run a brewery. I do have 8 highlights I want to share with you briefly from my past year here at Culmination. They were bright spots, things I really appreciated. The first one was fresh hop season. I got here in August, just at the beginning of fresh hop season, and we're right now just beginning another fresh hop season. Fresh hop season is so much fun. I absolutely love fresh hop season. Another highlight for me was the 3 weeks leading up to Christmas. I'll tell you, we sold a lot of beer. It was happy. It was cheerful in the brewery. People came in. They were so happy we were open. That just brought a lot of lightness to me. I love the first 3 weeks of the 3 weeks leading up toward Christmas this past year. They were a delight. Our regulars, I was bartending a lot then, and they would come in and encourage me. I'll tell you, I mentioned our regulars already, but it was such a highlight to have them come in and encourage me and cheer me on. And I hesitate to name names. I want to, but there's a lot of it. You know who you are. When I see you, I will tell you, you're one of the people I was thinking of when I mentioned our regulars. But thank you so much to regulars that helped me. That was and is a huge highlight, a huge joy to my journey here at Culmination. The fourth highlight I'll mention is I love branding and marketing and storytelling and doing a rebrand. Worked with our designer, Cody Brown. He's absolutely amazing. And we did a slight update to the Culmination logo. And then we have 4 flagships here at Culmination, flagship beers. And a flagship beer means it's available year-round on tap and in cans. Now, we needed to refresh those, and so we got new labels for Phaedrus. We got new labels for Sour Flower. I love those labels. They're beautiful. We're going to relabel our Pilsner later this fall. And then we used to have 3 flagships, but I just was convicted we needed a 4th flagship. So I came up with Madness and Beauty. It's a hazy IPA. I scrawled out stuff on a yellow paper with a blue pen, and Cody took that nonsense I gave him and came up with an absolutely beautiful label. So that's been a lot of fun. Coming up with what kind of narrative around Culmination. For a long time, we ran with a brewery worth saving. And I made episodes. I just filmed the final episode of A Brewery Worth Saving over on the Culmination YouTube channel, just released it. Where I give updates to Culmination fans. And now we're transitioning from A Brewery We're Saving to A Brewery on the Rise. Who knows if we'll make it, but we've transitioned from A Brewery We're Saving to A Brewery on the Rise. And then we'll see how long we keep that. And then I'm already using the hashtag. Of course, I bought the domain, Beer for the Good Vibes. We brew beer for the good vibes. And that grew out of so many people coming in here saying, man, I love the vibe here. I love the vibe of your beer. You have such good vibes here. And I'm like, that's it. We're going to make beer for the good vibes. And so coming with all of that has been a huge highlight and a big joy to me. Daniel Andy helped me a lot with a lot of that rebranding. And of course, Cody Brown did all of the design work. He is just an incredibly gifted designer. The fifth highlight, you may laugh, but it was a big deal to me. Every Friday night, I'd go to bed like, wow, the brewery didn't close this week. We made it another week. And that was always a big deal. And then the last day of every month, the night that I'd go to bed, the last day of every month, wow, we survived a whole month. The brewery did not close in December. Wow, the brewery did not close in January. Wow, we made it to the month of February. Some of you may laugh, but I'm telling you, it has been a fight to survive, and those were big milestones to me. The end of every week and the beginning of every new month. The sixth highlight I want to mention, the joy that I've had is working with Chef Sun Kim. Sun has had and still has the FOMO Chicken food cart on 20th and Ankeny, just off of 20th and Burnside. Incredible Korean fried chicken. And last October, he opened a business up within a business. He opened FOMO Kitchen up here. His food is absolutely incredible. It's been a joy to work with Sun. His food is amazing. He has definitely been a bright spot, helped the brewery move ahead. We've done a lot of fun things like Portland Sandwich Week. We're getting ready to do Portland Burger Week. So thank you, Sun. You have brought so much joy to me. It's incredible. Seventh highlight I'll mention is Fred Kaufman Ezo Beer in Japan. I'm scratching and fighting, where can we get money? Where can we get money? And one of the brewers said, well, we used to sell a lot of beer in Japan. And like, okay. And then I checked with our former distributor, and for reasons, they weren't going to be able to help us sell beer in Japan. Somebody said, well, there's a guy named Fred in Japan. He does that. I'm Sherlock Holmes there trying to find Fred in Japan to import beer. I got nothing. Someone says, oh, he spells his name with a PH. I find him, Fred Kaufman. I message him. He calls me like at 11 o'clock at night. We start chatting. He says, I've watched your videos. I want to buy your beer. I want to be part of the journey of helping save your brewery. He said that in October, actually. And I'll tell you, that was such an encouragement and a lift to my spirits. Like, wow, someone gets it. He says, I want to be part of that journey. And then I met him in December. He came out to the brewery in December, and it was absolutely incredible. Like, he says, I want to be part of this story. I want to help. And we have sold beer to Japan, and his checks have come through like, okay, I got his check. I can meet payroll. Absolutely fantastic. So Fred Kaufman, Ezo Beer, thank you so much. You've been part of the reason Culmination is still around, and you've been a highlight in my journey this past year. And the last highlight I'll mention is Daniel and Andy. They are my brewers here at Culmination, and they are, I think, some of the best brewers in the state of Oregon. They make incredible beer, but over the past year, particularly over the winter, they put in so much and gave their hearts and souls and worked with me. Like I said, for quite a while, it was just the three of us running this brewery over the winter, which is absolutely insane. And getting to work with them, they each have different skill sets. They're very good at the skills they have and the strengths they have, and they have been a huge joy. And they're a big part of the reason Culmination is still here. So I'll close with the two questions that people often ask me. First question people ask me, was it really that bad when you got here? Yeah, it was really that bad. It was an absolute dumpster fire, financial disaster. The brand was a mess. The reputation was a mess. There was a lot of fans, thank goodness, that loved it, but a lot of them had given up. A lot of people thought the brewery went out of business. They read that Oregonian article and like, oh, they're out of business. I run into people in the state that say, oh, that brewery's out of business. And I'm like, no, it's not. I do not watch my Facebook and Instagram. I'm there putting my heart and soul in every week. And so, yes, it really was that bad when I got here. And we've had to dig out of a big hole. Some of the challenges we had some sabotage, right, when I got here for the first couple of months I had to deal with, not by a current employee, not by a shareholder, but we did deal with sabotage. I had to deal with the year before I got here, year and a half before I got to Culmination, I have discovered what looks to me to be embezzlement that we had to overcome and deal with. And let me tell you, when you sign checks for an account that you are not a signer on, that is actually a crime and that is fraud. And to say, well, someone told me I could doesn't make it okay. I can tell you can rob a bank, and it's still a crime to rob a bank. And so I've had to deal with that as well. Significant, in my personal opinion, significant embezzlement. I'm still nailing that down. I'm going to work on that, gathering my stuff so I can go to the FBI, because there's federal crimes involved in check fraud, and go to the police. We'll see what they do with it. But yeah, it was really that bad when I got here. So people have asked me occasionally, an interesting question, what skills do you think you brought to the table that's helped Culmination make it this far? And the first one is just my grit and tenacity. I fight hard. I've overcome a lot of obstacles in my journey, a lot of challenges. I've been through what I call my 3 great disasters, overcoming financial ruin, overcoming a very dark childhood, dealing with the loss of my son Zane, And all of that, I just have grit and tenacity. I think that's made a big difference. Second skill I'll mention is my unwavering belief. I just believe to the core of my soul that Culmination could survive. Not that it would, but that it could. And if you are trying to accomplish an endeavor, if you're trying to build something, you have to want it really bad, and you have to believe it's possible. I teach people when I'm helping them pursue the life their heart longs for. They need to have want and possibility. And you have to believe it's possible. And I've always known, just to the core of my being, no matter how bad things got, we can get through this. Culmination could be saved. No guarantees that it will, but I've had unwavering belief, and I think that's made a huge difference. My people skills, whatever people skills I've had, they've made a big difference. I'll tell you, I first read How to Win Friends and Influence People when I was 16 years old, thanks to a dear friend of mine, Al Gallo, and it is for me, it was a life-changing book. I read it again many, many times over the past year since I was 16. That was a long time ago. My friend Daniel, or my brewer Daniel the other day, he's my friend too, but he said, "Oh, you're a boomer." I said, "I am not a boomer. How dare you? I'm Generation X. We were raised on a hose, water, and neglect. I'm definitely not a boomer. I'm proud Generation X." So, yeah, I graduated high school in '87. So, I read the first time How to Win Friends and Influence People a long time ago. But read that book. Read books on EQ, your emotional intelligence. Those are huge things. There's so many times I've wanted to flip people off or tell them to go F themselves, and I've had to restrain myself and have a more diplomatic approach. So my people skills, I think, is something that I brought to the table that has helped. My passion for branding and marketing and my journey with social media, I think that's something that helped. And the last thing I'll mention is I love storytelling. I love being a storyteller, and that's something I've been able to leverage, particularly here at the bar, one-on-one. You know, you make fans. Initially, when you're growing a brand or when you're rebuilding a brand, you make fans one fan at a time. You deepen those relationships one fan at a time. You move someone from a passive fan to a passionate fan, one fan at a time. Eventually, you get huge and big, and yeah, you can add them, but initially, you were doing it one fan at a time. And I think that my storytelling, particularly working in those one-on-one situations, that's something that has contributed greatly to Culmination still being here. So the past year Culmination was all about surviving, just trying to survive. And I think I see light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm pretty sure it's not a train. Fingers crossed that it's not a train coming at me. I think, we're going to be able to spend a good chunk of this upcoming year being about thriving, not just surviving, but thriving. And if you're in a tough situation, you got to survive first. You know, I was in a very tough situation financially summer of 2011, and you have to survive first. But once you start surviving, you then have to let go of the things that helped you survive and start embracing new tools. The things that helped you survive, they won't help you thrive. Sometimes you let go of those things. A lot of the things that helped me survive my very dark, very abusive childhood, those things are holding me back from being a functional, happy, fulfilled adult. I'd let go of those things and embrace new skills. And so if you're your own journey of wanting to move from survival, I call it, to thrival, check out what skills and tools you're using, because sometimes you need to let go of your survival skills and pick up what I call thrival skills. Anyways, those are my reflections. That's my journey over the past year. It has been an incredible year. And to all of these that have supported and come by Culmination and cheered me on, I want to say thank you so much. Cheers, everybody.